Money, for centuries, people have argued about what it is. Some call it wealth, some call it survival. Others say it is the root of evil. But strip away the paper, the coins, the digital numbers on a screen, and you will see the truth. Money is energy, energy that flows, energy that moves from hand to hand, from mind to mind, from creation to creation. And like all energy, it responds to direction. If you don't understand it, it slips through your fingers. If you fear it, it hides from you. But if you respect it and learn to guide it, it becomes a powerful ally. Think of water. A river never stops moving. It carves mountains, nourishes lands, and sustains life. Left unchecked, it floods and destroys. But when guided, with dams, with channels, with care, it generates power, electricity, growth, abundance. Money works in exactly the same way. Yet most people treat money like a mystery. They either chase it desperately or avoid it completely. Both approaches are wrong. Imagine running after a river with a bucket, trying to catch it all. Impossible. The water will always slip away. That is the life of someone who chases money without creating value. They run, they grab, they beg. But money, like water, moves on. Now imagine the opposite. Someone who fears the river so much that they never step close. They live thirsty, watching others drink, but too afraid to touch the flow. That is the life of someone who rejects money, who calls it evil, but deep inside, quietly wishes they had more. The truth is balance. The truth is respect. The truth is to step into the river, not as a beggar, not as a prisoner, but as a master. When you begin to see money as energy, you stop asking, how can I get more money? And you start asking, how can I create more value? Because energy flows where value is created. Look at the inventions that changed the world. The light bulb, the airplane, the internet. Each one solved a problem, gave value, and attracted wealth. Did the creators simply chase money? Number, they created solutions, and money flowed to them as a result. This is the secret the wealthy understand. Money is not the cause. Money is the effect. If you want more energy, you must become a source of it. If you want more money, you must become a source of value. Think of a seed. If you eat it now, you have a moment of satisfaction. But if you plant it, nurture it, wait with patience, it grows into a tree that gives fruit for years. Money works the same way. In the hands of the impatient, it disappears. In the hands of the wise, it multiplies. This is why mindset is everything. A poor mindset says, I need money now at any cost. A wealthy mindset says, I will create, I will serve, I will build, and the money will come. Ask yourself today, what energy are you giving to the world? What problems are you solving? What value are you creating? If the answer is little or nothing, then money has no reason to flow toward you. But if you are learning, growing, building, contributing, then you are becoming a magnet for energy. Do not make the mistake of thinking money only belongs to the lucky, the chosen, the privileged. History is filled with people who started with nothing. No family wealth, no connections, no safety net. What they had was vision, energy, persistence. They planted seeds, they created value, and money followed. Money will not chase you, but it will find you when you align with it. So here is your challenge. From this day forward, stop asking, how can I get money fast? Start asking, how can I become so valuable that money cannot ignore me? Because money is not luck. Money is not magic. Money is energy. And energy flows toward those who are bold enough to create, disciplined enough to persist, and wise enough to respect its power. Wealth does not begin in the bank. It begins in the mind. Before a person earns a single dollar, before they make their first investment, before they build their first business, the seeds of wealth are planted in thought. Most people believe that wealth is only about money. They think, if I had more money, I would think differently. But the reality is the opposite. If you think differently, you will create more money. The mindset of poverty and the mindset of wealth live in two different worlds. The poor mindset asks, how can I survive today? The wealthy mindset asks, how can I create for tomorrow? The poor mindset looks at the cost. The wealthy mindset looks at the return. The poor mindset says, I can't. The wealthy mindset says, how can I? This difference in thought is what separates those who remain stuck from those who rise. The prison of limiting beliefs. From childhood, many of us are taught beliefs about money that trap us. We hear phrases like, money doesn't grow on trees, rich people are greedy, be grateful for what you have, and never ask for more. These ideas sound harmless, but they plant seeds of limitation. They teach us to see money as rare, as dangerous, as unattainable. And when the mind believes money is unattainable, it closes itself to opportunities. The wealthy mindset is not limited by these beliefs. It sees money everywhere, not as piles of cash, but as opportunities waiting to be unlocked. Scarcity versus abundance. There are two main ways of seeing the world: scarcity and abundance. Scarcity says, there isn't enough. If someone else wins, I lose. If they succeed, I must fail. Scarcity breeds jealousy, fear, and inaction. Abundance says, there is more than enough. If someone else succeeds, it proves I can too. If they win, I can learn from them. The pie is not fixed, it can grow. Abundance breeds creativity, courage, and collaboration. Wealthy people operate from abundance. They don't see competition as a threat. They see it as motivation. They don't fear sharing ideas or opportunities because they know new ones will always come. The role of vision. A wealthy mindset is driven by vision. Vision is not just about goals. It is about seeing beyond what exists now. The poor mindset only sees the present, the bills, the problems, the lack. The wealthy mindset sees the future, the possibilities, the opportunities, the growth. Vision gives direction. Vision gives meaning. And vision attracts money because money flows to those who know where they are going. Think of great leaders and entrepreneurs. They didn't wait for money to give them permission to dream. They dreamed first. They built a vision so strong that money had no choice but to follow. The habit of responsibility. Another pillar of the wealthy mindset is responsibility. People with a poor mindset blame the economy, the government, their boss, their family. Responsibility lies outside of them, so they feel powerless. Wealthy thinkers take ownership. They say, if it is to be, it is up to me. Even when circumstances are unfair, even when the odds are against them, they search for what they can control. Responsibility is power, because when you accept responsibility, you also accept the ability to change your future. The courage over comfort. The wealthy mindset is built on courage, not reckless risk, but brave action. Poor thinking chooses comfort, the easy job, the safe path, the guaranteed outcome. But comfort never creates greatness. Wealthy thinkers step into discomfort. They learn new skills, take chances, and face rejection. They know that every step outside the comfort zone expands their future. Learn daily disciplines of wealthy thinkers. Mindset is not just philosophy, it is practice. Here are habits that build the wealthy mind. 1. Daily gratitude. Focus on abundance, not lack. 2. Learning every day. Wealthy people feed their minds before they feed their bodies. 3. Goal setting. They write down not only what they want, but why they want it. 4th action. First, they act even when afraid, because clarity comes from doing. 5. Reflection. At the end of each day, they ask, did I grow today? Did I move forward? Wealth begins in the mind. If your thoughts are chained to scarcity, fear, and blame, no amount of money will set you free. But if your thoughts are lifted by abundance, vision, and responsibility, money will become the natural result of who you are. Change your mindset and you change your future. Because the truth is this, you don't think wealthy because you are rich. You become rich because you think wealthy. If wealth begins in the mind, then discipline and habits are the bridge that turn thought into reality. Ideas are powerful, but without consistent action, they are only dreams. Wealth is not built in sudden explosions of effort, but in the quiet repetition of small, disciplined steps taken every single day. The power of small actions. Many people overestimate what they can do in a day, but underestimate what they can do in a year. They dream of massive change overnight, and when it doesn't happen, they quit. But the wealthy know the secret. Small, daily actions compound into extraordinary results. Think of water drops carving a rock. One drop does nothing, but thousands, millions, over time, shape mountains. Habits are those drops. Discipline is the patience to let them work. Discipline, the currency of success. Discipline is not punishment. Discipline is freedom. Without discipline, you are a slave to mood, distraction, and circumstance. With discipline, you are free to rise above excuses. The poor mindset waits for motivation. The wealthy mindset builds systems. Motivation is a spark, but discipline is the engine. Motivation fades, discipline keeps going. Ask yourself, do you own your day or does your day own you? The answer is found in your habits. Wealthy habits versus poor habits. Poor habits, scrolling endlessly, blaming others, waiting for luck, spending without thinking, living only for today. Wealthy habits, reading, learning, planning, investing, exercising discipline, living with vision. Habits shape identity. Each action you repeat says, "This is who I am." If your habits align with scarcity, you live in scarcity. If your habits align with wealth, you live in abundance. The morning edge. Wealthy people guard their mornings. The first hour sets the tone for the day. Instead of rushing, complaining, or consuming, they invest in themselves. They read, they plan, they move their body, they sharpen their mind. Discipline in the morning creates momentum that money cannot buy. The rule of consistency. Anyone can work hard for one day. Anyone can save money for 1 week. Anyone can focus for one project. But wealth is built through consistency, the relentless ability to keep going long after the excitement fades. Consistency is boring. It is not glamorous, but it is powerful. The gym session repeated, the book read daily, the money invested monthly. Each act small, each result invisible at first, until suddenly the invisible becomes unstoppable. Sacrifice and reward discipline often requires sacrifice. The wealthy trade short-term pleasure for long-term gain. The poor trade long-term gain for short-term pleasure. When you choose to save instead of spend, to learn instead of waste time, to work instead of complain, you are planting seeds of freedom. Sacrifice today becomes wealth tomorrow. Building systems, not goals. Goals are important, but systems build wealth. A goal says, I want to save $10,000. A system says, I will save 10% of every dollar I earn automatically every month. Systems turn discipline into autopilot. They remove emotion, remove decision fatigue, and make progress inevitable. The discipline of saying no. Every choice carries a cost. Saying yes to distraction is saying no to growth. Saying yes to impulse spending is saying no to financial freedom. Wealthy people learn the discipline of no. No to waste, no to negativity, no to anything that pulls them away from their vision. Conclusion of Chapter 3. Discipline is the foundation. Habits are the bricks. Together they build the house of wealth. Without them, even the strongest ideas collapse. With them, even the smallest steps lead to greatness. Ask yourself today, what habits shape me? What discipline defines me? Change your habits and you change your future. Because in the end, money does not respond to wishes, it responds to discipline. If wealth begins in the mind, then discipline and habits are the bridge that turn thought into reality. Ideas are powerful, but without consistent action, they are only dreams. Wealth is not built in sudden explosions of effort, but in the quiet repetition of small, disciplined steps taken every single day. Use the power of small actions. Many people overestimate what they can do in a day, but underestimate what they can do in a year. They dream of massive change overnight, and when it doesn't happen, they quit. But the wealthy know the secret. Small daily actions compound into extraordinary results. Think of water drops carving a rock. One drop does nothing, but thousands, millions over time shape mountains. Habits are those drops. Discipline is the patience to let them work. There's discipline, the currency of success. Discipline is not punishment. Discipline is freedom. Without discipline, you are a slave to mood, distraction, and circumstance. With discipline, you are free to rise above excuses. The poor mindset waits for motivation. The wealthy mindset builds systems. Motivation is a spark, but discipline is the engine. Motivation fades, discipline keeps going. Ask yourself, do you own your day, or does your day own you? The answer is found in your habits. Wealthy habits versus poor habits. Poor habits, scrolling endlessly, blaming others, waiting for luck, spending without thinking, living only for today. Wealthy habits, reading, learning, planning, investing, exercising discipline, living with vision. Habits shape identity. Each action you repeat says, "This is who I am." If your habits align with scarcity, you live in scarcity. If your habits align with wealth, you live in abundance. The morning edge. Wealthy people guard their mornings. The first hour sets the tone for the day. Instead of rushing, complaining, or consuming, they invest in themselves. They read, they plan, they move their body, they sharpen their mind. Discipline in the morning creates momentum that money cannot buy. The rule of consistency. Anyone can work hard for one day. Anyone can save money for 1 week. Anyone can focus for one project. But wealth is built through consistency, the relentless ability to keep going long after the excitement fades. Consistency is boring. It is not glamorous, but it is powerful. The gym session repeated, the book read daily, the money invested monthly. Each act small, each result invisible at first, until suddenly the invisible becomes unstoppable. Sacrifice and reward. Discipline often requires sacrifice. The wealthy trade short-term pleasure for long-term gain. The poor trade long-term gain for short-term pleasure. When you choose to save instead of spend, to learn instead of waste time, to work instead of complain, you are planting seeds of freedom. Sacrifice today becomes wealth tomorrow. Building systems, not goals. Goals are important, but systems build wealth. A goal says, I want to save $10,000. A system says, I will save 10% of every dollar I earn, automatically every month. Systems turn discipline into autopilot. They remove emotion, remove decision fatigue, and make progress inevitable. The discipline of saying no. Every choice carries a cost. Saying yes to distraction is saying no to growth. Saying yes to impulse spending is saying no to financial freedom. Wealthy people learn the discipline of no. No to waste, no to negativity, no to anything that pulls them away from their vision. Conclusion of Chapter 3. Discipline is the foundation. Habits are the bricks. Together they build the house of wealth. Without them, even the strongest ideas collapse. With them, even the smallest steps lead to greatness. Ask yourself today, what habits shape me? What discipline defines me? Change your habits and you change your future. Because in the end, money does not respond to wishes. It responds to discipline. If wealth begins in the mind, then discipline and habits are the bridge that turn thought into reality. Ideas are powerful, but without consistent action, they are only dreams. Wealth is not built in sudden explosions of effort, but in the quiet repetition of small, disciplined steps taken every single day. Use the power of small actions. Many people overestimate what they can do in a day, but underestimate what they can do in a year. They dream of massive change overnight, and when it doesn't happen, they quit. But the wealthy know the secret. Small daily actions compound into extraordinary results. Think of water drops carving a rock. One drop does nothing, but thousands, millions over time shape mountains. Habits are those drops. Discipline is the patience to let them work. There's discipline, the currency of success. Discipline is not punishment. Discipline is freedom. Without discipline, you are a slave to mood, distraction, and circumstance. With discipline, you are free to rise above excuses. The poor mindset waits for motivation. The wealthy mindset builds systems. Motivation is a spark, but discipline is the engine. Motivation fades, discipline keeps going. Ask yourself, do you own your day, or does your day own you? The answer is found in your habits. Wealthy habits versus poor habits. Poor habits, scrolling endlessly, blaming others, waiting for luck, spending without thinking, living only for today. Wealthy habits, reading, learning, planning, investing, exercising discipline, living with vision. Habits shape identity. Each action you repeat says, "This is who I am." If your habits align with scarcity, you live in scarcity. If your habits align with wealth, you live in abundance. The morning edge. Wealthy people guard their mornings. The first hour sets the tone for the day. Instead of rushing, complaining, or consuming, they invest in themselves. They read, they plan, they move their body, they sharpen their mind. Discipline in the morning creates momentum that money cannot buy. The rule of consistency. Anyone can work hard for one day. Anyone can save money for 1 week. Anyone can focus for one project. But wealth is built through consistency, the relentless ability to keep going long after the excitement fades. Consistency is boring. It is not glamorous, but it is powerful. The gym session repeated, the book read daily, the money invested monthly. Each act small, each result invisible at first, until suddenly the invisible becomes unstoppable. Sacrifice and reward. Discipline often requires sacrifice. The wealthy trade short-term pleasure for long-term gain. The poor trade long-term gain for short-term pleasure. When you choose to save instead of spend, to learn instead of waste time, to work instead of complain, you are planting seeds of freedom. Sacrifice today becomes wealth tomorrow. Building systems, not goals. Goals are important, but systems build wealth. A goal says, I want to save $10,000. A system says, I will save 10% of every dollar I earn, automatically every month. Systems turn discipline into autopilot. They remove emotion, remove decision fatigue, and make progress inevitable. The discipline of saying no. Every choice carries a cost. Saying yes to distraction is saying no to growth. Saying yes to impulse spending is saying no to financial freedom. Wealthy people learn the discipline of no. No to waste, no to negativity, no to anything that pulls them away from their vision. Conclusion of Chapter 3. Discipline is the foundation. Habits are the bricks. Together they build the house of wealth. Without them, even the strongest ideas collapse. With them, even the smallest steps lead to greatness. Ask yourself today, what habits shape me? What discipline defines me? Change your habits and you change your future. Because in the end, money does not respond to wishes. It responds to discipline. A few dollars a week. Reading books about finance. Slowly, discipline takes root. Habits replace chaos. Within a few years, debt turns to savings. Savings turn to investments. Investments turn to freedom. This story repeats across the world. Ordinary people who face their mistakes, embrace discipline, and rise. Story 3. The Single Parent Warrior. Think of a single mother working 2 jobs, exhausted, stressed, but refusing to quit. Her paycheck barely covers rent and food. She sacrifices sleep so her children can dream. At night when the world sleeps, she studies. She learns new skills. She builds a small business online. At first it earns nothing. Then slowly, a few dollars, a few clients, more growth. Years later, her business supports her fully. Her children go to college. The cycle of scarcity breaks. She began with nothing but determination and turned it into abundance. Lessons from these stories. 1. Vision matters more than circumstances. None of these people had wealth at the start. They had vision. 2. Discipline multiplies. Small, repeated actions build unstoppable results. 3. Failure is fuel. Each setback taught them lessons that became their advantage. 4. Wealth is built, not given. In every case, the power inside created the money outside. Why these stories matter? Because they prove the truth. Money does not create power. Power creates money. These people were not chosen. They were not born lucky. They simply refused to quit. The world is filled with millions of similar stories, many of which will never be told. But every story shares the same message. If they could rise, so can you. Your story awaits. One day, your story could inspire someone else. Imagine a young person hearing about you, how you struggled, how you risked, how you disciplined yourself, how you rose. Imagine them realizing if they did it, I can too. Your wealth is not only for you, it is for the people you will inspire, the bridges you will build, the lives you will change. Conclusion of Chapter 5. The greatest wealth is not measured in dollars but in stories. Stories of resilience, stories of courage, stories of ordinary people who became extraordinary because they refused to quit. Earning money is the first step. Saving money is the second. But the true key to wealth is learning how to make money grow. Most people stop at the first two steps. They work hard, they earn, they spend. Some are disciplined enough to save, but very few take the final step, investing. Yet this step is the difference between working for money all your life and having money work for you. Kishininchun. Why saving alone is not enough. If you only save, you protect yourself, but you do not multiply. Inflation eats away at savings. Emergencies drain them. A crisis can wipe them out. Saving is important, but it is not the end goal. Saving is defense. Investing is offense. The wealthy understand this truth. You cannot save your way to freedom. You must invest your way there. Money as a seed. Think of money as a seed. Saving keeps the seed locked in a box. It is safe, but it never grows. Investing plants the seed. With time, patience, and care, it multiplies into trees, and those trees produce fruit season after season. Yes, there is risk. Not every seed grows. Some plants fail, but the risk of planting is still better than the certainty of nothing. The mindset of an investor. Investing is not gambling. It is not reckless. It is intentional. It requires patience, research, and discipline. An investor asks, how will this grow? What value does this create? A gambler asks, how fast can I get rich? The wealthy think in decades, not days. They understand that growth compounds. Small investments, given time, become great wealth. Areas of growth, investing takes many forms. Financial investments, stocks, real estate, businesses. Knowledge, education, skills, wisdom. Health, a strong body and mind create the energy to build wealth. Relationships, partnerships, networks, mentors. Each of these multiplies over time. The poor mindset says, it's too slow. The wealthy mindset says, time is my greatest ally. The power of compounding. Compounding is the hidden engine of wealth. $1 invested today, growing steadily, becomes far more than $1 saved. Compounding is not just financial. It applies to knowledge, health, and habits. Every book read compounds your wisdom. Every workout compounds your strength. Every connection compounds your opportunities. Overcoming fear of investing. Many avoid investing because of fear. Fear of losing, fear of risk, fear of the unknown. But fear is the cost of entry. The key is to start small, learn, and grow. Each investment teaches. Each step builds courage. Conclusion of Chapter 6. Wealth is not built by working harder alone. It is built by making your money, your knowledge, and your habits work for you. Saving protects. Investing multiplies. Growth requires patience. Do not hide your seeds in fear. Plant them. Nurture them. Let them grow. Because the true path to freedom is not just earning money, it is multiplying it. Money itself is not the destination. Freedom is. Because what use is wealth if you are still trapped? By fear, by obligations, by the endless chase of more. Financial freedom is not about having billions. It is not about showing off luxury. It is about choice. The choice to live where you want, to work on what inspires you, to help those you love, to give back without fear of running out. Freedom is measured not in possessions, but in options. The trap of endless chasing. Many people confuse wealth with freedom. They think, if I just had more money, I would finally feel free. But if your habits are chained to fear, even millions cannot buy peace. You will chase forever, never arriving. Financial freedom is not about the number in your bank account. It is about the relationship you have with money. If money controls you, you are never free. If you control money, even modest wealth can give you freedom. The 3 levels of freedom. When freedom from survival, no longer worrying about bills, food, rent. This is the first step. 2. Freedom of choice. The ability to decide where you live, what you do, who you spend time with. 3. Freedom of purpose. The highest level, using your wealth not just for yourself, but to serve others, to create legacy, to make impact. The mindset shift. True freedom requires shifting from consumer to creator. Most people spend their lives consuming products, entertainment, distractions. The wealthy focus on creating value, solutions, opportunities. Creation leads to abundance. Consumption without creation leads to chains. Designing a life of freedom. Financial freedom is not accidental. It is designed. It requires clarity. What does freedom mean to you? How much money do you truly need to live it? What habits will bring you there? Freedom is personal. For some, it is traveling the world. For others, it is building a home for their family. For others, it is giving generously. The key is defining it. Otherwise, you will chase endlessly without direction. The discipline of enough freed is not found in more. It is found in enough. The poor mindset always says, I will be happy when I get more. The wealthy mindset knows I already have enough to build freedom, and more will come as I grow. Enough is not weakness. Enough is strength. Because when you know what is enough, you are no longer a slave to comparison, envy, and endless desire. Stories of freedom. The entrepreneur who sells their company, not to buy yachts, but to buy back their time. The teacher who invests wisely, retires early, and spends their life mentoring the next generation. The family who builds savings and creates stability that breaks the cycle of poverty for their children. Each story shows the same truth. Freedom is not about luxury. Freedom is about control of your time, your energy, your choices. Conclusion of Chapter 7. Financial freedom is not given. It is built with discipline, with vision, with courage. It is not about having everything. It is about having the power to choose. And the path to freedom begins not with money, but with mindset. Because when you awaken the power within you, money becomes the servant and you become the master. We have walked through the journey of money, from myths to mindset, from discipline to courage, from stories of struggle to the vision of freedom. And now we arrive at the truth that ties it all together. Money itself does not create power. Power creates money. The circle of wealth. Think of everything we have explored. Seeing money as energy, not just paper. Building a mindset of abundance instead of scarcity. Practicing discipline in daily habits that build strength. Taking risks and finding courage in the face of fear. Learning from those who started with nothing and rose. Planting seeds through investing. Multiplying through growth. Defining financial freedom not by luxury, but by choice. All of these lead to one conclusion. The power has always been inside you. Money is not the starting point. It is the result. Why power comes first. If you chase money without power, you will always feel empty. You may win it, but you will lose it. You may spend it, but it will control you. But if you build inner power first, discipline, courage, responsibility, vision, then money becomes a reflection of who you are. It becomes a servant, not a master. The legacy of power. Your wealth is not only for you, it is for those you inspire, those you help, those you lift. Your story can become the proof that someone else needs. Proof that struggle can turn into strength. Proof that nothing can turn into something. Proof that power creates money. Imagine years from now, someone reads your words, hears your story, sees your example, and because of you, they rise. That is legacy. That is wealth beyond numbers. The final call. So here is the challenge. Stop waiting, stop doubting, stop chasing, rise with courage, act with discipline, create with vision, fail, learn, and rise again. Plant your seeds, step into the river, embrace risk, and build freedom. Do not let fear whisper louder than your potential. Do not let scarcity blind you to abundance. Do not let money control you. Control money. Because the truth has always been simple. Money does not create power. Power creates money. And that power lives within you. Money by itself fades. Numbers change. Possessions break. Fortunes rise and fall. But what remains long after the money is gone is the impact you leave behind. Legacy is greater than wealth. Legacy is wealth multiplied. The difference between riches and legacy. Many chase riches only for themselves. They collect, they display, they consume. But once they are gone, their riches vanish too. Legacy is different. Legacy is what continues to live when you no longer do. It is the businesses you build that employ thousands, the schools you fund that teach generations, the lives you touch with kindness, courage, and vision. Wealth as a tool of service. True wealth does not end with your comfort. It extends into contribution. When you rise, you create space for others to rise. When you win, you open doors for others to walk through. The wealthy mindset asks not only, what can I gain? But also, what can I give? What can I build that outlasts me? Their impact through choice. Your impact may not come from billions. It may come from how you raise your children, how you serve your community, how you treat the people around you. Legacy is built in every choice, big or small. Building eternal wealth. The greatest wealth is measured not in dollars, but in lives changed. Money is the tool, but impact is the result. When you use your power to serve, to give, to inspire, your name lives on. Conclusion of Chapter 9. Legacy is the final level of wealth, beyond survival, beyond freedom, beyond success. It is the moment where your power and your money create something timeless. So ask yourself today, what will remain after me? What saint? Building wealth is one journey, keeping it alive is another. Too many people rise for a moment and then fall because they lose the habits, the mindset, the discipline that created their success. Sustaining the fire is the true test of power. The danger of comfort success can be its own trap. When money begins to flow, when comfort arrives, many stop doing what made them great. They relax, they consume, they lose discipline, and slowly wealth slips away. The poor mindset says, I've made it. I can stop now. The wealthy mindset says, this is just the beginning. I must keep growing. The rhythm of renewal. Sustaining power requires renewal. Renew your mind with learning. Renew your body with health. Renew your spirit with gratitude. Wealth is not a static achievement. It is a rhythm of growth. You're protecting the source. Remember, money is a reflection, not the source. The true source is your inner power. Protect it with discipline, with courage, with vision. When the inner fire burns strong, the outer wealth will always follow. Passing the fire. The greatest way to sustain wealth is to pass it on. Teach your children, mentor others, share your wisdom. When the fire spreads, it never dies. Conclusion of Chapter 11. Wealth is not a moment. It is a lifestyle. It is not a single victory. It is a rhythm, a fire that must be fed daily with discipline, courage, and gratitude. Sustain the fire and it will sustain you, because the truth will always remain. Money does not create power. Power creates money, and the fire of that power, once lit, must never go out. Wealth is not a destination, it is a lifestyle. Too many people believe that once they reach a certain number, earn a certain income, or buy a certain thing, they will finally arrive. But true wealth is not about arriving, it is about living. The integration of wealth. The wealthy do not separate money from life. They integrate it. Their habits, their health, their relationships, their work, all align with abundance. Wealth is not just in their bank account. It is in their choices, their time, their spirit. Living with intention. Every decision is either an investment or a loss. Time, energy, and money flow daily. The poor mindset spends without thought. The wealthy mindset asks, does this bring me closer to freedom, growth, and purpose? Wealth as a lifestyle means intentional living, eating for health, learning for growth, spending for value, investing for future freedom. Joy beyond possessions. The wealthy lifestyle is not endless consumption. Luxury can be enjoyed, but it is not the foundation. True joy is found in freedom, in creation, in contribution. A life where mornings are not rushed, work is chosen, and impact is felt. That is wealth. The balance of living and building. Some fall into the trap of sacrifice without living, working endlessly, saving everything, never enjoying the fruits of their labor. Others fall into the opposite trap, consuming everything now, never planting for tomorrow. The wealth lifestyle balances both. Enjoy the journey while building the future. Spend with wisdom, not fear. Invest with vision, not greed. Freedom in every day. Financial freedom is not only about retirement or someday. It is about freedom in each day, to wake up with purpose, to spend time with people you love, to live aligned with your values. Wealth as a lifestyle means you don't wait for tomorrow to feel rich. You live rich today, in gratitude, in discipline, in freedom of choice. Conclusion of Chapter 12. Wealth is not an endpoint. It is a way of being. It is not something you achieve once. It is something you practice every day. When you live with discipline, courage, vision, and gratitude, you are already wealthy. Money simply reflects it, because the wealthy lifestyle is not about what you have. It is about who you are. Wealth is not limited to a single person, a single family, or even a single nation. True abundance is global. When you understand this, you stop seeing the world as divided into winners and losers and start seeing it as an endless field of opportunity. The illusion of limited wealth. Many believe that if someone else succeeds, it means there is less left for them. This is the scarcity trap. But wealth is not a fixed pie. It expands with creativity, innovation, and courage. Every new invention, every business, every breakthrough creates more opportunities for everyone. The internet itself is proof. A few decades ago, it did not exist. Now it connects billions, creates industries, jobs, and wealth across the planet. One idea expanded the entire global economy. Shared prosperity. Global abundance teaches us that wealth is not only personal, it is collective. When communities rise, individuals rise with them. When countries invest in education, technology, and opportunity, they create wealth not just for the few, but for the many. Haute Couture, 30th of August, 2025, 1802-44. Abdul Haq Ukam. Your power is not limited by where you were born. The world is more connected than ever before. Opportunities that once belonged only to the elite are now available to anyone willing to learn, adapt, and take action. Thinking beyond borders. The poor mindset says, I am limited by where I live. The wealthy mindset says, the world is my marketplace. In today's age, your skills, your ideas, your products can reach across oceans. You can create wealth not just locally, but globally. Contribution as wealth. Global abundance also means contribution. True wealth is not only what you take from the world, but what you give back. Helping others rise multiplies opportunities for everyone. When you build, teach, share, and serve, you expand the circle of wealth. Conclusion of Chapter 13. The world is not running out of wealth. It is overflowing with it. Opportunities grow every day, waiting for those with the vision to see them and the courage to act. Do not see yourself as small, trapped, or limited. See yourself as part of a global network of abundance. Because the truth is simple, the more you grow, the more the world grows with you. Wealth is not limited. Wealth is infinite. And global abundance is proof. Wealth is not static. The way people create, store, and grow money is always changing. In the past, wealth meant land. Later, it meant factories. Today, it often means knowledge, technology, and ideas. To build lasting freedom, you must not only master today's opportunities, you must prepare for tomorrow's. Technology as the new currency. The future of wealth is digital. Data, innovation, and technology are becoming the engines of abundance. From artificial intelligence to renewable energy, from blockchain to space exploration, each breakthrough is creating new industries and new fortunes. The poor mindset fears change. Everything is moving too fast. The wealthy mindset embraces it. Change means opportunity. Skills over titles. In the future, wealth will not belong to those with the fanciest degrees or titles. It will belong to those with adaptable skills, problem solvers, creators, innovators, people who can learn, unlearn, and relearn faster than the world changes. Your education never ends. The future of wealth belongs to the eternal student. Global connectivity borders are fading. The internet has already made it possible to sell, teach, and build across the world. The next generation of wealth will be even more global. Those who think only locally will remain small. Those who see the world as their stage will grow without limits. Conscious wealth. Another shift in the future of wealth is purpose. People no longer admire riches without responsibility. The leaders of tomorrow are those who build not only for themselves, but for society, for the planet, for future generations. True wealth will not be measured only in numbers, but in impact. Preparing for tomorrow. So how do you prepare? Stay curious. Keep learning about new trends and technologies. Stay adaptable. Be willing to pivot, to try new paths, to evolve. Stay purposeful. Build wealth with vision, not just consumption. The future rewards those who see change not as a threat, but as a gift. Conclusion of Chapter 14. The future of wealth is faster, bigger, and more connected than ever. It belongs to those who are ready to adapt, to learn, and to create with courage. Do not cling to the past. Step boldly into the future, because no matter how the tools of wealth evolve, one truth remains unshaken. Money does not create power. Power creates money. And that power, when combined with vision for the future, is unstoppable. At the heart of every lesson in this book lies one truth. Wealth begins not outside, but inside. Money changes. Systems change. The world changes. But the inner power, the discipline, the courage, the vision, the resilience is eternal. Goes beyond numbers. When you die, your bank account will not follow you. Your houses, your cars, your possessions, they will pass to others. But what remains is the power you lived with, the choices you made, the impact you left. Numbers fade, legacies endure. The source that never runs out. Markets crash. Economies shift. Opportunities rise and fall. But the true source of wealth, the power within, never runs dry. It grows the more you use it. The more courage you show, the more courage you have. The more discipline you practice, the stronger it becomes. Unlike money, which decreases when spent, inner power multiplies. The final victory. To master wealth is not just to earn money, it is to master yourself. to rise when you fall, to act when you fear, to give when you can, to live in freedom, not slavery to desire. That is the final victory. Passing the flame. The eternal power within you is not only for you, it is for those you inspire, for those who will carry your lessons forward. Every time you act with strength, someone else sees it and believes they can do the same. That is how power spreads. That is how wealth multiplies across generations. The closing truth. So let this be the final reminder. Money will change. Opportunities will change. The world will change. But the truth will never change. Money does not create power. Power creates money. And the eternal source of that power has always lived within you. Wealth is not a finish line. Power is not a medal. Freedom is not a final destination. All of these are milestones on a journey that does not stop when you reach your goals, but continues as long as you live. The myth of arrival. Many dream of the day when they will finally arrive. They imagine, when I earn enough, I will relax. When I achieve my dream, I will stop. When I am free, the work will be over. But this is an illusion. Arrival does not exist. Growth does not end. The wealthy mindset understands that the journey itself is the reward. Growth as a lifestyle. The unstoppable journey means that every achievement is a beginning, not an ending. When you reach one goal, you set another. When you overcome one fear, you face a bigger one. When you create one stream of wealth, you build another. Wealth is sustained not by reaching, but by continuing. The spirit of exploration. The journey is not only financial, it is spiritual. It is the exploration of who you can become. The more you test yourself, the more you discover your strength. The more you give, the more you discover your abundance. Wealth is not a static identity. It is a living exploration. Embracing the unknown. The unstoppable journey is not always clear. It is filled with uncertainty, risk, and change. But this is not something to fear. It is something to embrace. The unknown is where growth happens. The unknown is where power awakens. The eternal challenge. Every day asks you the same question. Will you rise again? Wealth is not built once. Courage is not won once. Discipline is not practiced once. Each day is a new challenge, and each day is a new victory. The unstoppable journey is about answering yes every day. Conclusion of chapter 16. There is no end to power. There is no end to growth. There is no end to the journey. So do not seek the finish line. Seek the path. Seek the fire that moves you forward. Because wealth is not about arriving, it is about becoming. And as long as you walk this unstoppable journey, the truth will always be with you. Money does not create power. Power creates money. And the journey of that power never ends. Wealth without peace is poverty in disguise. Many people chase success, build fortunes, even reach financial freedom. Yet inside they remain restless, anxious, and unsatisfied. True wealth is not only what you have in your hands, but what you carry in your heart. The silent battle. The world celebrates external victories, money earned, businesses built, goals achieved. But behind the curtain, many of the so-called successful live in chaos. Stress, fear of loss, endless comparison. They look rich, but they live poor. The inner battle is the final test of wealth. If you do not master your mind, your money will never bring peace. The wealth of stillness. Inner peace is itself a form of wealth. It cannot be bought, but it can be built through gratitude, through discipline, through awareness of what truly matters. The poor mindset says, when I get more, I will finally relax. The wealthy mindset says, peace is a choice I make now, no matter what I have. Balance of drive and rest. Wealth is built by discipline and courage, but it is sustained by balance. The unstoppable worker who never rests will burn out. The fearful saver who never enjoys will regret. True wealth is both drive and rest, both growth and gratitude. Freedom from comparison. Peace comes when you stop measuring yourself against others. In the age of social media, comparison is the thief of joy. The wealthy mindset knows wealth is personal. Your journey is your own. Some practices of inner wealth. Gratitude journaling. Focus daily on abundance. Silence and reflection. Give your mind space to breathe. Purposeful giving. Share wealth to strengthen meaning. Mind-body discipline. Care for health as carefully as finances. These are not luxuries. They are the foundation of true freedom. Conclusion of Chapter 17. Money can buy comfort. It can buy time. It can even buy opportunities. But it cannot buy peace. Peace is built from within. The final step of wealth is not to own more, but to need less. To be at peace with who you are, where you are, and what you are building. Because in the end, the richest life is not only measured in dollars, but in days lived with peace. Wealth is not meant to end with you. The energy of money flows strongest when it moves, not when it is hoarded. And one of the most powerful ways to keep that flow alive is through giving. The fear of giving. Many fear giving. They think, if I give, I will have less. This is scarcity thinking. It sees money as limited, fragile, and weak. But the truth is the opposite. Giving expands wealth. The wealthy mindset understands that money is energy, and energy grows when it is shared. The return of generosity. Every act of giving plants a seed. Sometimes it returns as opportunity, sometimes as trust, sometimes as joy, peace, or relationships. The return is not always immediate, but it is inevitable. Generosity creates networks, builds reputation, and unlocks doors money alone cannot open. Beyond charity, giving is not just charity. It is contribution. It is mentorship, teaching, building, inspiring. True giving is not only money, but time, knowledge, and presence. The poor mindset asks, what can I get? The wealthy mindset asks, what can I give that multiplies for others? Stories of the Circle history remembers the givers, leaders who built schools, entrepreneurs who funded ideas, families who shared their success with communities. Their wealth outlived them because they turned it into impact. The circle of giving is eternal. What you give flows out, and in time flows back. Bigger, stronger, multiplied. Living generously. Everyday generosity is not only for the rich. It is for anyone who has something to share. A smile, a kind word, a skill, a moment of time. The habit of giving builds abundance long before millions arrive. Conclusion of Chapter 18. Wealth that stops with you dies with you. Wealth that flows through you lives forever. Give boldly, share freely, contribute meaningfully. Because when you give, you do not lose, you expand. The circle of giving proves one thing. Money is not power. Power is the ability to give, to build, to multiply. And when you give, your power and your wealth become unstoppable. If money is energy, then time is life itself. You can lose money and earn it back. But once time is gone, it is gone forever. The wealthiest people on earth know this truth. Time is more valuable than money. The illusion of endless time. Most people live as if time is unlimited. They waste hours on distractions, meaningless arguments, endless scrolling. They say, one day I will start. One day I will change, but one day never comes. The wealthy mindset knows every minute is an investment. Every day is either compounding or decaying. Buying back time. True wealth is measured in freedom of time. Money itself is useful only if it buys you back the hours of your life. The wealthy delegate automate and systemize. They focus only on what creates the most value. The poor mindset says, I will do everything myself. The wealthy mindset says, I will focus only on what matters most. The power of focus, mastery over time, is mastery over attention. You cannot control every event, but you can control your focus. Distractions are the thieves of destiny. Wealthy people guard their attention as carefully as their money. One focused hour is worth more than 10 distracted ones. Compounding of time. Just as money compounds, so does time. 1 hour of reading a day compounds into mastery over years. 1 hour of exercise compounds into health that fuels decades. The small, consistent investments of time build an empire of results. Aligning time with purpose. Wealth without purpose is wasted life. Mastery of time means aligning every day with what matters. Ask yourself, does this hour bring me closer to freedom, to growth, to legacy? If not, cut it away. Conclusion of Chapter 19. Money measures wealth. Time reveals truth. The richest person is not the one with the biggest bank account, but the one who wakes each day free to live fully, with focus, with purpose, with peace. Master your money, yes, but above all, master your time. Because in the end, time is the real currency of life. Money can open doors, but it is relationships that keep them open. The greatest fortunes are not built alone. They are built with, through, and for people. True wealth is measured not only in dollars, but in the quality of the relationships you cultivate. The poverty of isolation. A person can have millions in the bank, yet live in poverty if they are alone, unloved, and disconnected. Isolation drains energy. It limits growth. Wealth is not only financial, it is emotional, social, and spiritual. The network effect. Wealth grows faster when it is connected. Opportunities come through people. Mentorship accelerates learning. Partnerships multiply results. The poor mindset says, I must do it all myself. The wealthy mindset says, together we can go further. Every relationship is a bridge. Some bridges lead to growth, others lead to destruction. The wisdom lies in choosing which to cross. The currency of trust. Trust is the invisible currency of wealth. Once broken, it is difficult to rebuild. Wealthy people protect their integrity because they know that trust is worth more than money. With trust, deals are made, opportunities flow, and partnerships endure. Without it, wealth crumbles. Giving before receiving. The strongest relationships are not built on taking, but on giving. The wealthy mindset asks, how can I add value to this person's life? When you give first, knowledge, time, support, you plant seeds of loyalty and respect. Relationships as legacy. Long after money is spent, it is people who remember how you made them feel, the kindness you showed, the respect you gave, the doors you opened. These relationships outlive wealth and often create new wealth for generations. Conclusion of Chapter 20. Money is numbers. Relationships are life. Wealth without people is hollow. But wealth shared, built together, and lived in connection becomes unshakable. Invest not only in assets, but in people. Because the greatest fortune you will ever build is not the one in your account, but the one in your heart and in the lives you touch. Like it? Live it. Subscribe now.